Have you ever experienced this? Get the tune downloaded. Okay. Are you serious? If you play Forza Horizon 5 a lot and you haven't experienced this, you probably will soon. If you have experienced this, you may already know how to fix it. Today I'm going to show you the fastest way to fix this, explain a little bit about why this is happening, and also go over a few things you'll need to know if you're a tuner yourself. Let's get into it. So first we'll go over why this happens. From my understanding, tunes that you've downloaded are saved in your sync file that gets re-uploaded to the cloud every time that you save the game. Because of this, Playground Games limits the amount of tunes each user can have on their account to 500. There's a couple of ways to hit this, but the most obvious is to just download 500 different tunes without deleting any of them. Unfortunately, there's not a place in the game you can go to see all of the cars you've downloaded for all the cars in the game. For this reason, the only way to actually delete tunes is to get into every unique vehicle in the game and look in your downloaded tunes for each car individually. There are well over 700 unique cars in the game, so this can take quite a while. We're going to go over the quickest way to do this now. First, you want to be in your garage. I always start alphabetically. On this account, I've already deleted all the tunes from A to the current car, the Ferrari SF90 Stradale. To start out tune deletion, you can just use the RB and right stick to maneuver, RB to skip manufacturers, and right stick to move between cars in that manufacturer. Once you get through a few manufacturers, you'll want to start using the action button to skip to the correct manufacturer. Once you're in the correct car, just go to the upgrades and tuning, go over to My Tuning Setups, hover over the tune and just press X to delete and A to confirm tune deletion. You just need to repeat this for every car in your garage that's not marked with a new in the little colored bar that indicates the vehicle's rarity. If you have multiple of the same car, for instance, you can see that I have multiple Ferrari 599XXs and F50 GTs, you only have to go into one of those cars. Every instance of that car will have access to the same tunes in your tuning setups, so deleting them on one will delete them on all of them. One thing to note about deleting tunes is that the tune will stay on the car even after it's deleted. If the tune is something that you created, it will even allow you to adjust the tune settings, add or remove parts, and reshare that tune if you want to. For this reason, if you have multiple tunes for a single car that you use often, I'd recommend getting a duplicate of that car and putting one tune on one car and the second tune on the second car, so that you won't have to have both tunes actually installed in your tuning setup, so you could just switch vehicles. I do this for the Hoonigan Ford RS200. I always have two of them, one for S2 class and the other for S1 class. Now let's get into the specifics for tuners. It's important to note that if you delete a tune that you've shared, it will give you a misleading message declaring that if you delete the tune, it will unshare the tune and you'll no longer receive payouts for the tune. This is actually not correct, or at least it's not the entire story. While it is true that it's possible to unshare a tune that you've shared, deleting it from your garage does not automatically do this. For this reason, you can safely delete every single tune in your entire garage, and not only still have access to the tunes you were using as they'll still be on the car, people will still be able to find and use your tunes as they're still shared, and you can still search the share code in the tune menu and give it to people the same way you usually search the share code because it's still in there. Now the reason I mentioned installing all different tunes you would want to use onto different vehicles is that if you have multiple tunes that you use often, going back to my favorite car, the Hoonigan RS200, I have an S2 and an S1 class tune. If I didn't have those tunes on different vehicles and relied on switching tunes as needed and ended up deleting those tunes, I would have to search the tune up and reinstall it. Doing this is actually quite dangerous. It has a perk, but it also has a major downside. When you search your own tune in the tune menu and install it from there, you're basically downloading your own tune from the tune menu. And you're not going to get a download for doing that, and you're not going to give yourself likes and uses for using your own tune. But the perk here is you can see how well that tune is performing. If you just go back into your tune setups in your garage after you've re-downloaded the tune and press A while hovering over the tune, you can see how many downloads, uses, and likes that tune has. And it updates itself. So once you've downloaded it once, you can just go back in there and click it, and you can see how many more uses, likes, and downloads, etc. it's had since the last time you checked it. It just keeps updating itself cumulatively. The difference between the tunes, if you already had the tune installed and you re-downloaded it, you're actually going to see multiple tunes there. The re-downloaded tunes will always have at least 1 star, depending on how well the tune did, while the original tune will have no stars. There's not a benefit for re-downloading the same tune multiple times, as it does update itself with the tune's downloads, likes, and uses. Indeed, it can have some major drawbacks, as each re-downloading of the same tune actually counts as a different tune download, so it tallies against your 500 tunes that you're allowed to have. And now for the major downside. Once you re-download one of your tunes, if you delete the re-downloaded tune from your tuning setups, the message that prompts up that says if you delete this tune, it will unshare it, you're not going to get any more downloads, likes, and uses from it, it's actually correct at that point. So deleting re-downloaded tunes will completely unshare the tune. People won't be able to search for it, you won't be able to search for it, the share code will no longer exist, and you're not going to get likes and uses or downloads for that tune anymore. And finally, the download tune limit is not the only tune limit that you'll need to worry about if you're a prolific tuner. I haven't done enough testing to tell if the limits are cumulative, but I do know from experience that the hard limit on the number of tunes that you're allowed to have shared is 500, the same as tune downloads. And the penalties for having more than 500 shared are actually quite harsh, because if you're a prolific tuner, if you have more than 500 shared, you can't tune. And it enforces this in kind of a weird way. I don't know if it's a bug, but if you have more than 500 tunes shared, it starts out lagging whenever you're trying to apply parts and edit tunes and share tunes. It doesn't immediately just cut you off. You can still share, but after a certain point, it'll just completely lag your game out anytime you try to apply parts or edit tunes, or especially if you try to share a tune. For this reason, I'd highly recommend keeping the number of tunes you have shared per car down by seeing if you have a tune made for the car that you're making a tune for. Say that you're going into make an A-class tune for an Audi RS4. You could go into your My Tuning setups and see if you have any older tunes for that. And if you like that older tune, just use that tune. Don't actually have to reshare it. But if you don't like the tune, you want to reshare it, just go back to that old tune and download the tune. You can then see how many likes, uses, and downloads it has. If it has less than like 50, just delete it and reshare it once you have tweaked it and made it to your liking. And that threshold will be different for everybody. 50 is my threshold for most of my accounts. Whenever I do this on my main account, the issue got so bad that I actually just unshared pretty much all the tunes from like A to G or something like that, unless it was on the best tune list for that car. If you go all the way over to the right on the tuning menu, whenever you're going to download a tune, you can see the most downloaded tunes. I had a couple in there, so I didn't delete those, and I didn't delete any of the ones that had like more than 300 combined download uses and likes. I hope this video helped you out, and I hope you can avoid experiencing this issue in the future. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a wonderful day.